Hello everybody, it's Denjamin if I haven't met you before, and welcome back if you have been here. This is my first video ever wearing glasses. I'm not 100% sure how it'll turn out, so bear with me, but I do actually need glasses to see, and I just haven't been wearing them because I didn't want to deal with glare and whatnot. But I had an idea earlier this week. My birthday was very recently, but I was thinking about, reflecting on my life so far and how I'm 22. How old are you? I'd love to know in the comments down below. And I wrote down 22 lessons that I've learned by 22 that I didn't think of before. And I figured this would be a lovely video idea. So I'm going to talk about the 22 big life lessons that I've learned before I turned 22, or by the time I turned 22, and why I think they're important. So let us begin. The first one is, the moments where it is hardest to show empathy and understanding are the times that it is most important to be empathetic or understanding. I feel like when we are really frustrated with a person or a situation, it's extra hard to be empathetic and understanding, and those are the moments where your empathy and understanding will count the most. It takes a lot of self-control and thought and management to be able to do that, but I think it's a very important skill that we all should be developing at some point. The second one is, the sooner you accept yourself for who you are, the sooner you will be free. I think that's a very important one. A lot of people, especially young people, try to fit in with other people and cliques and groups and stuff that might not necessarily mesh with them, and it's hard to find yourself and find who you actually are. But the sooner you do that, the sooner you are free to make intentional decisions that will actually serve you, instead of decisions that you think you need to be making because other people want you to be making those decisions. Number 3, don't hold on to people who don't want to be in your life. As much as it sucks when a friend wants to leave or wants to let you go for whatever reason, or you want to let them go, sometimes you just gotta, even if it sucks or even if they're bad for you, sometimes you just gotta send it, baby, even if it hurts a bit. The next one, it may feel earth-shattering at times, but it's okay if your values or core beliefs change throughout life. I feel like that's a side effect of growing and developing yourself and your identity, and hearing other perspectives that are different than the ones that you've had your entire life. So it's going to feel really weird sometimes if you do end up completely and entirely changing your opinions on things, but it's again a discomforting thing. Well, hold on. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary, I think, for us to actually grow into the best version of ourselves. So prepare for that. 5, learning to love yourself is a lifelong journey. I think this is really important. I don't think anybody will ever fully love themselves completely and entirely. I think it's a step-by-step process. It takes a long time. Then things change and you have to learn to love yourself again. There's a lot of aspects to self-love that just take a very long time, and I feel like because we are always growing and we are aging and we're developing mentally and physically, it's just going to be a lifelong journey that you're going to have to practice self-love for. Number 6, you do not have to understand your sexuality by a certain age. There's a lot of factors that play into that, which is true. I know a lot of people who are my age that are still bro, I have no idea what I am, what I'm not. Hello, we have changed locations. My camera died during the last filming portion of this video, and then I left my charger for my battery at my apartment, and now I'm back at my apartment. So let's begin. I think we're on number 6, which was you don't have to understand your sexuality by a certain age. There's a lot of factors that play into sexual orientation, and I think this is really important. A lot of people that I knew and do know felt pressured almost to know by a certain age what they were into and who they were into, because it's more accepted by society. But the fact is, take your time, dude. It might be a while before you actually know what you need and want. That's okay. Number 7 is romanticize life, fall in love with the little things, the routine, the journey, all of that stuff. I find life can be really sterile if you're just reaching for goals all of the time, and if you're not enjoying the little things that happen along the way. And when you hit the goal, it doesn't always feel as good as it did, or if it does, it lasts for a day or two, and then you're okay, now what? So you know, really romanticize the journey and the progression of growth throughout life and whatever you're working on. The next one is surround yourself with people who motivate you to work on your passions and grow as a person, which I think is really important. I've heard a couple times in life, I'm not 100% sure if this is like fully real, but you are the average of like the 5 people that you're around most. So, you know, surround yourself with people that are motivated and also that motivate you to do what you want to be doing or what you need to be doing to be successful. 9 is try everything at least once. This was hard for me to come to grips with. I think I was about 17 when I was like, yeah, maybe I should try these things like one time, and if I hate them I never have to do them again. And the list of things that I've tried that are new is infinitely longer, from going out to specific events, going to a bar, seeing a specific person, making plans with somebody who asked if I would be interested in hanging out. You do it once and you try it, and if you hate it, you don't have to do it again. If you don't love it, you also don't have to do it again. But I feel like you don't know unless you try, and trying everything will help you find out what you do like. The next one is learn your limits and how you personally need to relax. There's a lot of people out there that tell you, oh, this is how you relax, this is what this feels like, whatever, but only you really know what your limits are, and only you really know how you can relax regardless of what people are saying. They might give you some advice, but at the end of the day, advice is just advice, and you're going to have to try out a couple things to find out how you relax, but know how you should relax for you so that you're, you know, a comfy boy. The next one is develop a coping mechanism for when bad things happen, as it will speed up recovery. I feel like regardless of the scale of the bad thing, you should have like a response to something that feels not good in your life, whether it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go home and I'm going to write about it in my journal, I'm gonna go home and I'm just going to throw on my gym jams and I'm going to listen to music in bed, or I'm going to clean my whole house because that will make me feel at least a little bit better. Find things that will make you feel better about the thing or improve your experience with the thing. Also, that will help like recover faster, you know, if something traumatic happens and you know from experience and from trial and error what you need in that situation, you will feel a bit of a jump start in recovery, even if it doesn't like feel like it at the time. Number 12 is if it feels like the world is mad at you, go to bed. And if it feels like you're mad at the world, get a snack. And that is something that has like changed my life. I heard that a year ago or so, and I was like, wow, even if you don't like go to bed, it just means like put it to rest. So if it feels like the world is mad at you, just like go be by yourself, do something by yourself, take some time away from whatever is feeling like the entire world is upset with you for. And then if you're mad at everybody, take a snack. Half the time you're hungry and you're not thinking right, have some water. Like, it's about replenishing your needs before carrying on. Having a snack is not necessarily the only way to do that, but like have a snacking is like check in with yourself to see what you need to feel better. Generally speaking though, it is like a basic thing, like you're overtired, you're hungry, or you're thirsty, in my experience anyway, so I see why it's have a snack. 13 is learn habits to show up for yourself. You tell yourself that you're gonna work on something today and then you don't work on it that day and you get really frustrated because you do that every day. Set like a minimum guideline for showing up for yourself for that task. So for instance, I try to write music every single day in some way, shape, or form. So sometimes I'm really not in the mood and I'll be like, okay, you know what? You just have to write literally one pair of lines and that's it. And some days I do just write one pair of lines, and some days I write an entire song. Some days I write an entire chord progression, and some days I just come up with a little melody line for a verse or so. And as long as I showed up and I did the bare minimum, that still counts as showing up for myself, and I'm still progressing towards those goals, because I'd rather do the absolute bare minimum than nothing at all for several days and then produce something once in like a huge manic frantic inspiration moment, instead of, you know, slowly working towards those things over time. Because then when a huge manic inspiration moment comes along once every like 2 or 3 months, I've also written a couple things at the minimum throughout that time. Very useful. 14. This is something that, like, hear me out, this is something that I've come up with in the past like 6 months, but I found it really useful. It's being vulnerable is like investing in stocks. There's high risks, but there's usually high rewards. Sometimes, of course, you do get hurt when you're being vulnerable, but being vulnerable has opened up so many things for me. I've created friendships infinitely faster. I feel a little better in my skin because people are hearing my concerns, my secrets and stuff, and people assume that I'm more genuine. For those who don't know me in real life, I sound monotone all of the time, and it's very hard for me to sound or seem enthusiastic about things with other people a lot of the time, because even if I am feeling enthusiastic, I sound a little bored, and that's something I've had to put up with my whole life. But genuinely sharing something about myself in the conversation that we're having that's obviously related, or really listening and trying to be another human in the moment instead of like seem like I'm paying attention, has really helped me a lot with relationships in general with all people. 15. You're the only one who has to live your life, so make choices that serve you. I think this is really important. There's a lot of people that I've spoken to, specifically at university, but also throughout my life, that are like, my parents really want me to do this. My friends are telling me to do that when I want to do this. I looked on the internet for other people in my situation, and a lot of them chose this choice instead of that choice, even though I want that choice. You're the only one who has to live with your life and your decisions and your experience. So as much as other people might not like it, make the choices that serve you the most so that you get to have the experience that you want and you need. I think this one's really useful. I'm planning to do this over the next couple of years, but it is live in a couple vastly different environments for a year or two, because you'll learn which one is best for you. There's a lot of people that I know that have just like stuck with their same hometown forever, which is totally fine. Like, I'm not mad at you for doing that, but I do genuinely believe that everybody should try living somewhere extremely rural for like a year, or in a very small town, and then maybe spend a year in a huge city or a different country to learn about yourself and learn about what you want and what you need. And that way, when it is around a time for you to settle down, you know the environment that best serves you as a person. Number 17 is cut ties with things and people that are not serving you. So if something is obviously not helping you anymore, or is even a little toxic at the other end of the spectrum, as much as it sucks sometimes, you gotta say goodbye to that thing. You gotta change your relationship with that thing. You know, for instance, for me, this is like something really dumb. You know, a couple of years back, I was really addicted to my phone, and I spent like 7 hours a day on my phone or something actually ridiculous like that. And so I put a really hard time limit on my phone. I put a hard time limit of 20 minutes on my phone, and if I was on it over that, including texting, calling, whatever, I just couldn't use it for the rest of the day. And it like did suck at first, but it made me more conscious of how I'm using my time and what I'm using it for. And that was just a very specific example. But of course, you know, that toxic friend, get rid of her or him or them. That shirt that you've had in your closet since you were 7 years old, I'm sure you don't really need that anymore. That kind of stuff. Just cut ties with things that are not serving you. Learning to cook is an underrated skill in 2020. There, I said it. If you cannot cook, you're going to be spending a lot of money on food. And also, I feel like it's something that's important, even if you're not objectively good at it. Understanding like how to at least feed yourself will save you a lot of money, and will also give you something to do that could be fun sometimes. Basic conflict resolution skills will help you in so many areas of your life. It is insane. My school, I was part of this program, the orientation program in specific, that did give basic conflict resolution training, and I recommend anybody at least researches the topic, because it will come in handy when you are dealing with friends, significant others, parents, family, strangers, people that you're serving as customers, or I forget what the other word for that is, clients, that kind of stuff. Having basic conflict resolution in the event that somebody does start being confrontational, or there is clearly a conflict starting, will change the entire game for you, as you can avoid a lot of arguments that would otherwise have happened. 20 is spend time practicing truly listening to hear others. A lot of people listen to respond instead of listening to understand each other, and that's really unfortunate, but that's just kind of how it is. People just want to hear themselves speaking these days. I say ironically in a YouTube video. You know, when you're listening to understand, the conversation shifts, and the other person that you're talking to feels more valued, because you're first off really actively listening because you're trying to understand exactly what you're saying. Often you're asking questions that are more in depth and about specific things that they were talking about, because you're actually curious about what they're saying to you. And also they will actually feel heard, which is a problem that doesn't happen in our society enough, and that is mostly, in my opinion, why people talk so much and why they do talk to respond instead of understand, because they want to feel heard, and that is the only way that people feel like they can feel heard, which is really unfortunate in my opinion. So practice listening to understand versus listening to respond. As much as there might be a little more dead space in your conversations because you're thinking or they are thinking, it will be a more productive conversation and both of you will leave feeling a little more fulfilled. 21. Developing a routine to tackle all of the little chores and tasks will infinitely improve your sense of productivity. This is true. Every day of the week is a specific day where I just do like something small to keep on track of all of the little things. I don't know how many people who are watching this are like young adults or like finally living on their own or whatever, but I find that my room just gets like, I'm looking at all of the clutter in the background when I say this, but my room just gets like cluttery. It's not even dirty, it's not even disorganized, it's just like cluttery stuff that is really small and minuscule and doesn't seem worth it to like put away for a second, and then it all builds up. So I just have like a specific day of the week where I organize specific areas of my house, and every single day I try to do like 10 minutes or so of picking up, so that my space is at least relatively clutter-free. That also goes with like little tasks. So have a day of the week that you maybe go out to the stores and you do like all of the shopping that you absolutely need to do, as much as you might hit 4 stores and like be really tired. At least you got it all done that day so that you don't have to do it again tomorrow. The last one is like a little bit of a niche one, but in my experience, journaling in some form does help to clear your head and get new perspectives on situations. Hear me out. Even if you don't journal all of the time, even if you don't journal in a traditional book, even if you... Nope, that's it. Even like just write stuff down if it's bothering you. If you need perspective on a situation and you've asked all of your friends and stuff and you still feel like you don't understand it, just write everything down with the facts that you know. Sleep on it, look at it again, you might see it in a more objective light, and I found it useful to track patterns in my behavior that may be problematic or patterns in my behavior that are helpful to me over time, so I can figure out what to work on and what to keep in my life as habits. So yes, thank you for being patient with me and my changing backgrounds, but 22 things by 22 was a really cool idea, and I'm really glad that I filmed it, and I hope that you got something wise out of this video, if not something fun to try. Thank you for watching if you made it this far. My name is Denjamin. This is a channel where I upload acoustic covers, lifestyle content, and original music. If that sounds like something you're into, subscribe down below and hit the thumbs up button so I know to make more videos like this in the future. Thanks. Bye.